Good evening. It is Monday, March 16th, 2020 at 5 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting of the Committee of the Whole, the Lansing City Council, to order and ask that the clerk please call the roll.
Councilmember Spatafor.
Present.
Councilmember Hussein. Councilmember Wood. Here. Councilmember Spitzley. Here. Councilmember Garza. Here. Councilmember Jackson. Councilmember Dunbar. Councilmember Betts. Here.
Quorum is present, and I'd like to thank all of those of you here for being here this evening. We need a motion to approve the minutes. Vice President Hussein.
I'd move the meeting minutes from February 24th, 2020 as presented.
The motion has been made to approve the minutes. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please say nay. The motion carries. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment at this time? Seeing none, public comment period is closed. Presentations. This evening we have, by request from City Council, the City Treasurer, Ms. Kaler, to come up and discuss with us perhaps last year's projections on the income tax, and there were some questions around the underperformance of that revenue stream. Perhaps any light you could shed on that for us, or that one's probably generally easier. We'd appreciate. And make sure the green light is on when you're speaking.
Oh, I pushed it.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. How would you like for me to proceed?
So I guess maybe we'll start with, there were a couple questions, and we'll have some questions, and I remind council members too that our treasurer is new, so was not here last year, but can certainly speak to the role of the treasurer's office in these issues. So I will open it up to questions from council members, and Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. A couple of questions that I have, and again, we are understanding that you're new in the position, but do you have any information that can lend us to how the determination was made for income taxes that were part of the budget process for 2019-2020?
Certainly. So I went through a timeline just so that I could make sure that I'm accurate with everything here, but so the current budget that we are in, I was not here. I was not a part of creating that budget, so I'm not completely sure of all of the parameters or the factors that went into determining it, but I would assume that they're probably some of the same parameters that I would utilize.
Okay, could you give us how you would look at making determinations for the income tax revenue projections?
Yes, ma'am, I'd be happy to. So what I would do is first start with the sum of the fiscal year payments, which we can easily obtain from our city income tax program, subtract out the refunds, which typically is 14.6 to 15% of what revenues are, and then, I would have the net collections. But some of the other pieces that would go up with the first point that I made with the fiscal year payments, we look at jobs, economic indicators. For instance, when General Motors added jobs, there's a way to calculate that fiscal impact on income tax revenues. Talking about withholdings, adjusted gross income, there's a formula that you can utilize to get a pretty close estimate as to what your income tax revenues would be from that. For instance, the General Motors strike, that obviously impacted the revenues in speaking for the 1920 revenues. I'm trying to think of some of the other things, withholding, economic indicators. We also like to look at the multipliers. For instance, if there are 10 jobs created by General Motors, there's a multiplier effect that you can apply. I like to use a conservative one of 1.4 jobs. And so you would look at that and you could calculate that. Also input, output. When new jobs are created, for instance, when Wayfair comes into town, there definitely will be a multiplier effect. Businesses around that area, people will spend their money there. So those are some of the effects and some of the factors that we like to take into account.
May I continue? I do realize that my question, which I was prepared to ask tonight, which I will, might be a different answer compared to where we are in the state with the virus and the things that we're dealing with. But the projection that we had received from the interim finance director was that we would see a reduction of approximately 2.4 million in our revenues from income tax. Was that a figure that was something that you worked on with her? If not, can you tell us, or even if you did, how you calculated that number?
Certainly. That was a very conservative estimate that was derived in early February, but since then, we have had some of the other information that has flowed in, for instance, knowing how the General Motors strike impacted us, it's to the tune of $811,000, and then also factoring in the East Lansing tax, that did definitely impact our revenues. Another item that needs to be addressed, and we're going to implement it for this coming fiscal year, is that we had a program called the State Tape Compliance, and what that is a program where you buy data from the state of Michigan, you compare it with your local income tax filers, and if there are people that have filed for the state but not filed in the city, and we have their zip code, then we can use that as a vehicle for pursuing non-filers. And prior year, that brought in $931,000. And then the year after that, $218,000. So that program had ceased in 2018. Keep in mind that we were without a treasurer and income tax administrator from October of 2018 until April 22nd, 2019, when I took office. Also, the effects of we've lost some employers, and that obviously impacts income tax withholding, and then also some of the ancillary businesses, spending, people not eating out because that job or that factory or whatever does not exist.
So are you concurrent with the 2.4?
Today,
Yes.
well, in light of the COVID-19, that we are not sure of the impact that will have. I'm sorry, did you?
Mr. Mayor.
We're going to stick with the number that we've put out there, but please keep in mind this is not the end of the budget for the current year. We expect to have updated numbers for the June, for the end of the year budget amendment. So we're going to take all of this into account. We're going to prepare our budget for next year, which we will provide to you next week. And we are going to do updates once again. We did not want to bring more updates to this budget amendment, as we have had it considered by this body. I think this is the third time, but we will have further updates for the June amendment, for the June end of the year.
Okay. That's all of my questions for right this moment.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood. Are there other questions? Vice President Hussein.
Just very quickly, you gave an 811,000 number due to the GM strike. We, conservatively, I know that we estimated that the East Lansing income tax would impact us to the tune of, I think it was $800,000 annually. What are we at now?
It's at $635,000. And the reason why there's a difference is because I took actual returns. I know how many East Lansing residents would definitely fall into that category. At the time when it was presented, I believe it was an estimation because we didn't have that number at the time, or the time, I wasn't here, but when it was done, they didn't have an exact count of the East Lansing residents.
I do have a question. So I see 800 plus 600 is 1.4 million approximately. Where's the other million, or is that just things happen? How does that work?
Well, part of it, I believe, is the state tape, because we
State
did
tape.
not
Okay,
utilize
we didn't
that.
use it. Okay.
That, if we bring that into focus again, that could easily bring in another
And that's the program where
number.
I'm going to say something that might sound critical, and I don't mean it as critical. That's the program where sometimes folks get a letter from us a few years after the tax year that says, hey, by the way, we saw that you worked in the city and you now owe us still. That correct? Like, that we're behind on the tape a little bit?
Well, that's a combination. No, the state tape, so we're looking at 216, 217, and 218.
Okay.
What you're talking about is in previous years, I believe this was prior to your taking over, Mayor, that the city contracted with someone to collect.
That's different.
So there are a number of years that need to to be brought up to date.
Gotcha. And since you've been here, how many folks have you brought on in Treasury to help with collection?
Thank you. We had 5 vacancies. That's another piece of the 37 million. There were 5 vacancies, but I've brought on 3 additional people.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we said it was 1.6 million. So there's another million. Did you answer the question of where the additional funding came from? Because
She did. It was through the non-utilization of the state tape program.
okay, thank you.
But we are going to use
I
that in the
didn't-
future,
yeah.
correct?
We are now,
Okay,
yes,
very
we
good.
definitely are.
Any other questions from the council for this, for the, Councilmember Wood?
Could you speak to us about the property tax? We see that there is an increase, and I believe
Councilmember
all
Wood, could you please hold your
taxes
question?
are in at this time.
Councilmember Wood, could you please hold your question? Looks like we're offline.
Okay.
Okay.
City TV, what's the status?
Well, we're online out there.
Oh, are we? Okay, then maybe it's
So I
just.
can
Okay.
see us out there, so.
Okay.
I don't-
Councilmember Wood, please continue. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
Sorry about
you.
that. Continue, Councilmember Wood, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Could you speak to the property tax? And there was an increase of revenues of 485,000. I believe all property taxes are in or should be in at this point.
Yes, correct. So it's a function of a formula, which is nice. Property tax was so much easier than income tax because property tax, for one, as far as like delinquencies and delinquencies, the county makes it whole, so we don't have that extra effort of having to try to bring people into compliance. But part of it is IFTs, TIFAs, some of these different economic initiatives that we have that affect the property tax. That is a piece of why it has increased.
And do you know how many properties we currently have in the tax tribunal right now?
Oh my, no, I do not, but I could easily find that out for you. That's handled through our assessor.
Okay, if you could look into that, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Councilmember, anyone over here? Councilmember Spitzley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have any questions, but this might be a good time if you want to talk about what are you going to do for folks who need to avail themselves of the city treasurer's office?
Oh, thank you. Oh, I did not pay her to do that. So we will.
That's because we're right here.
Thank you, that's right. So we have staff, I'm going to work, I know that we're on lockdown, but we have a Dropbox. People can pay online through Point and Pay. We also, you can call to make appointments, and we're following the protocol of some of the other banking institutions so that we make it easy for people to pay. But you can come and pay through a personal appointment. Dropbox, which will be outside of the building, and then also online, Point and Pay. Those are the ways right now that people can pay.
Thank you. Oh, Mr. Mayor.
I was going to cover this later, but we also have, as we shut down, we have a list of phone numbers that we were putting out to the public. We've got a website, so people can call in. We're going to have every department who are directing questions to a live phone, so that way people who have questions can call and get answers to their questions. So we're going to have a variety of avenues for people to get answers to their questions. It's not going to be, the city is out of business. There's still going to be a response.
Any other questions? Thank you, Madam Treasurer. You've been very helpful. Appreciate your time this evening.
Okay, thank you.
Next item on our agenda is an ordinance to amend the Police and Fire Retirement Ordinance, Chapter 294, Section 294.02, Sub D. Councilmember Wood, would you like to address it any further?
Thank you. We'll be having the public hearing this evening for the Police and Fire Retirement Ordinance change. What this will do is actually strike one word that says the city attorney shall be the legal advisor for the board, and it will be changed to may. So with that, I would move the moving the ordinance forward for a council vote this evening.
Is there any further discussion from council members? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. This is the Employees Retirement System Ordinance, and again, this is the same as the police and fire. It is striking one word from shall. The city attorney's office shall be the legal advisor to may be the legal advisor. And we will be having the public hearing on this evening, and we'll be also asking for passage and immediate effect, and I would move this.
Thank you, Councilmember Wood. Any questions on this? Councilmember
I do have a question. Councilmember Wood, how much is this going to, is there going to be a cost increase incurred by the police and fire boards for hiring their own external counsel on this?
We have a fund that, and a budget line item that allows us to pay for outside services. This will be incorporated into that, and it will increase that budget, but we have underspent that budget for the last several years, so it should be incorporated in that. What it will do is reduce the budget, the money that's coming from the city attorney's general fund, because they were paying for that previously. So this will be something that will be picked up by the retirement boards.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilmember Jackson, if you don't mind, I'm going to call on the mayor to directly answer that. Respond to that question.
I wanted to add to what Councilmember Wood was saying. The way the system works now, the city attorney hires out counsel. So as a member of the pension board, I have also been very strong in suggesting that if the city attorney is hiring out counsel, the pension board hires out counsel, it should be the same amount or less. And that is what the pension board, the attorneys who they are looking at have indicated, is that it will be less. I want to say it's something like $40,000 that we spend now at the city. If they spend $40,000 or less at the pension board, it's kind of a wash because we end up making up the difference from general fund anyway. Now that being said, if it were to go higher than that, I would have concerns to raise. But as long as it's a wash without factoring in litigation, if something were to happen in litigation, that would be different. But that was what made me more comfortable with this. So I apologize if I'm kind of doubling or repeating, trying to add to what Councilmember Wood had said, because she's on one of the boards and Council President Spatafore is on one of the boards.
There was some great discussion about that, and the bodies decided it was in the best interest of both to move forward with the plan. And there's a letter in your packet from the chairs supporting that with support of the boards. Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you. I recall some conversation about the reason why. I just want to hear it again. We're talking about the reason why we're switching from shall to may. It makes sense, but just want to hear it again.
We are not allowed to hire, the way the ordinance is written, the retirement boards would not be allowed to hire outside legal advice. So we have to change the ordinance to allow us to be able to do that. So that's why changing it from shall to may. And the reason the boards have looked at making this determination is they have, we did an RFP out there. We brought in different vendors to look at and talk with, and felt comfortable with the group that we're looking at bringing on as under contract.
I guess it was just like, was there a problem before for all the years before? But I mean,
We were not able to hire outside an attorney until a change in Public Act 314, which gave us the ability to do that.
Any other questions? Seeing none, all those in favor of the resolution, or the ordinance, excuse me, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Next up is a resolution dealing with the deficit elimination plan and the Special Assessment Capital Project Fund. Is that you, Ms. Fryer? Mr. Broward, Ms. Fryer, thank you. You know the drill. Make sure the green light is on.
For you. Before you have a copy of a deficit elimination plan for the Special Assessments Fund. There's currently a deficit in this fund as a natural property of the way it is structured. The general fund provides the advance of working capital, which is then repaid through special assessments on properties that directly improve from the benefits of these public services. So mainly storm sewer, gutter improvements throughout the city. And so this is something that we've had to do since 2017. This plan itself should look familiar from previous years, and it's just an annual requirement that we have to check off the box and complete. Any questions?
Any questions from council members, committee members? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to approve the resolution.
President Spatafor, I would move the resolution.
It's been moved by Vice President Hussein. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Next, thank you very much. The next item is item D, issuance and sale of 2020 limited tax general obligation bonds for capital improvements. I think that's you, Mr. Loeffler.
Yep, just before we get started, the city did 2 RFPs around the first of the year. One was for a municipal advisor, and the city selected R.W. Baird, and then also bond counsel, and the city selected Dykema. So from both entities today, we have Brian Loeffler with Baird, and then Jared Smith with Dykema. Along with these bonds, they're kind of grouped together, D, E, and F. The first one is what we call new money for parking bonds, and then the other 2, E and F, are for refundings. So if they'll come join me here at the
Council, we're just going to consider, we'll take separate votes, but we'll consider them all at once. So if you two would like to join us.
Mr. Gamble's going to present. I believe he's got a handout for everybody here for the parking money.
Thank you. I think we've got everything. Mr. Gamble?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a brief PowerPoint to step you through some of the continued improvements that the Parking Enterprise Fund is proposed to continue. It's following our extreme makeover that I have presented over the past year and a half, just starting with slide 1 as an overview of our 2020 CIP bond improvements. On slide 2 gives a relative summary of the types of improvements that we are planning to hopefully finish this year that speaks to our extreme makeover. The very first year in 2018, we made structural repairs to all of our 3 ramps, included repairing any pre-tension cables that have worn out or in fact broken. And that was an approximately $1.4 million project. In 2019, we cash funded the improvements to the North Grand ramp, as well as installing new parks equipments to all of our assets, including the 3 ramps and in addition the Lansing Center. Those repairs at the North Grand ramp included any remaining aesthetic concrete repairs, including spalling, masonry block failures, other maintenance repair items like drainage issues. You'll see in the ensuing slides that the drainage system for all of our ramps is the original drainage system installed in the late 1960s and early 1970s. A lot of it had completely rusted through, and there was an amazing number of spot repairs throughout the entire system. There are also electrical upgrades that we are improving. We had previously improved on electrical upgrades to take advantage of LED lights. These are, generally speaking, pedestrian improvements and enhancements with regards to additional appurtenances we've installed in the ramps, like pay-on-foot machines and the new parks equipment, making sure that there's appropriate lighting where people are entering and exiting the ramps. Slide 3 shows the South Capitol condition photos. You see in the upper left-hand photo of some brown brickwork that has failed due to drainage problems. The slide on the upper right shows a repaired drainage system multiple times. We're also going to be installing the same type of signage that we have installed on the North Grand Ramp as far as replacing, and it's hard to see because of the scale, the park sign that are still on the North Capitol and South Capitol ramps will be upgrading to have all the same type of branding so that when people come into our great city that they will know and be very obvious where the public parking will be. The lower right-hand picture on slide 3 shows a seriously deteriorated wall due to water damage and just wear and tear that has not been upgraded in many, many years. Slide 4 shows continued photos on South Capitol Ramp, the greatly deteriorated railings and delaminated paint, not the least of which is in South Capitol, shown on a series of photos there, as well as some smaller spalls you see on the staining of the beam. That's indicating leaching of the water reacting to some of the steel reinforcing members of the deck, which indicates some possible premature failure or an issue that we need to address. Continuing on to the North Capitol Ramp on slide number 5. The entranceway in the upper left-hand slide, you'll see, if you can make it out, there's a need of some increased lighting. One lane has lots of lights, the other lane has little lights. So we're going to equalize that lighting and make sure that the lighting as you enter, again, is very well lit and can complement the additional security cameras so that we can capture movement and facial recognition for those people coming in, as well as license plate recognition. The other slides are very similar to South Capitol, the paint delaminations, drainage improvements on the remaining photos on slide 5, as well as on slide 6, additional photos showing, again, seriously deteriorated and or failed infrastructure that services the North Capitol Ramp. Slide 7 shows a brief summary of the overall estimated costs for the respective ramps. The North Capitol Ramp is approximately $5.2 million in improvements. South Capitol Ramp is $6.9 million for a total estimated cost of just over $12 million. That includes the traffic topping, wayfinding, new signage, striping, two-way conversion costs that we need to perform in our ramps, other floor designation signage that we will show you on the ensuing slides. So basically, what our vision is can start to be seen on slide 8. The highlighting of the raised curb areas, increased lighting, the new drainage system as shown in the upper left-hand photo, the very well-lit entry points. This is showing the North Grand access point to the North Grand Ramp. Moving on to slide number 9, we have in this particular ramp taken liberty to be a little creative for the floor designations. You see the Lansing lug nut there in the upper left-hand photo, trying to make your stay kind of cool, but also easy to remember where you parked. These photos, the lower left-hand photo shows the ramp after it was entirely power washed, and for the most part, a lot, or in some areas, all the paint was removed and completely repainted. The upper right-hand photo shows conduit improvements. Along the past 40 years, there's been an amalgamation of conduits following the MacGyver law, where you just want to, if I need a piece of conduit at this corner of the ramp. It was just hung in the best way that they thought, with no bent on maintenance and providing a piece of infrastructure that was logical, methodical, and understandable and maintainable. So this shows the conduit infrastructure and spinal column of the North Grand Ramp, where all the columns and conduits are located in a very similar area so that they can be maintained, as opposed to spending 4 or 5 hours trying to figure out what conduit services what piece of machine. Very important for us and very helpful for maintenance. And finally, on slide 10 shows additional improvements. Our example of our new marquee sign in the lower left-hand corner, some great architectural lighting highlighting the mural on the North Grand Ramp, as well as additional signage improvements that highlight the skywalk, and an example of the additional floor monikers. That concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
I have one before we get started. Did you say facial recognition? And if so, what is the benefit of having facial recognition?
Well, I mean, facial recognition, being able to actually make out or see a face if we needed to. For example, if they were to break in to one of our pan foot machines, we would be able to see
like
their...
the camera on ATM?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
We're not talking facial recognition, invasion of privacy, tracking. type.
Being able to recognize a face on the
High enough
cameras.
definition that we can identify if someone's vandalizing our machines.
Yes, sir.
Very good, thank you. Other questions from the council? Councilmember Jackson, then Councilmember Wood.
And that goes same for the license plates, right? Just enough to see it, but not like automatic reading and...
Correct. At this point in time, we do not use license plate recognition in the ramps. That is a technology that is out there. However, the success rate is only between 93 and 98%. So when you factor in a ramp that has roughly 1,000 cars, you can all do the math very easily. That's a fairly significant failure rate when you're talking about especially the upper tier northern states and what can happen to a license plate when reacting to salt. So it's just one of those things that we haven't done yet, but we want to be able to do that easily if that is something that my successor would like to do, but no plans to do it in the near future.
Thank you. Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. A few questions. The first one is, with the possibility of an LCC ramp, what reduction in revenue do you see, if any, for the North Capitol ramp?
We don't see a reduction, quite frankly, Councilmember Wood. We have a waiting list for that ramp. In addition, there is a brand-new residential development across the street that, you know, certainly could play into the possibilities of supporting that general revenue stream.
I see in the information, and I'm not sure whether it's you or our bond people that are sitting here that can answer this, that we are looking at issuing not to exceed 13.5, but your presentation was 12.1. Can you tell us what the issuance price is and what the debt service, the projected debt service will be on this?
So the sizing of the transaction is, when the bonds are sold, they're going to have to come up with proceeds for the project, essentially the 12.1 million. Estimated cost of issuance would be, say, $200,000, and that would be for legal, financial, and then also for the bond firm that would be buying it or an underwriter. Also, in today's market, sometimes bonds may be sold at a discount less than their face value, so therefore you'd have to sell more bonds to fund the same requirements. So to put into a par amount into the resolution, we just wanted to make sure that there was sufficient authorization should you need all those dollars to meet all the needs. At a $12 million transaction, you're still below, based on the duration and then also today's interest rates, which are essentially lower than what we had originally projected, you're going to be anywhere between $900 and $1 million a year on that amortization schedule.
Okay. What revenues do we still have in the parking fund? Can someone answer that?
Yep, without looking at my audit, I want to say it was around 14 million when we ended the fiscal year 19. But certainly we could double check that number. Certainly more than enough to pay the debt service annually for this particular project.
Okay. And are there any other projects that are not discussed in the information that you brought us? Because we know that every year we're doing upkeep to the ramps that would end up utilizing some of that 14 million.
Not as part of this issuance, no.
Okay, thank you.
So the resolution before us authorizes the sale or purchase of up to $13.5 million. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
It's been moved by Vice President Hussein. Is there further discussion on item D? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Before we move on, was the intention to move these to the City Council next week, but in preparation for the possibility of potentially not having a council meeting next week, and these being timely, we're going to try to consider them as late items for this evening's council meeting. Yes, Councilmember Wood.
To the city attorney, is there any legal requirement dealing with the issuance of bonds, that there is a waiting period or allowing the public to
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, thank you.
Is there objection from council from doing that, from the committee from that consideration? Very good. We'll move that forward. Next item E is the issuance and sale of refunding of building authority bonds and tax increment finance authority bonds. Is that you two of you? Thank you.
Yep. So these two transactions, one is for the TIFA. In early February, the Tax Increment Finance Authority issued their, or approved their refunding bond resolution. And these are bonds that were issued in 2014 to solve the issue related to the amount of taxes that were captured in the TIFA so that you didn't have to use general fund dollars. What we saw here with interest rates in today's market, there are savings associated with refinancing the 2014 TIFA and the 2014 Building Authority bonds. Approximately 3.7 million of the TIFA bonds would be refunded, and approximately 7.245 million of the Building Authority bonds would be refinanced. Based on, after the estimated cost of issuance of that of about $250,000, the nominal savings is about $620,000. Now, those dollars would remain in the TIFA to offset any future reductions in captures and things like that. And then hence keeping the city's general fund, not having to contribute dollars from the city's general fund to pay for either of those bond issues.
Questions for bond counsel or financial? Right. Councilmember Wood.
Is the Building Authority bonds the court?
No, these Building Authority bonds are related to a parking structure that are under the TIFA. The court facilities, actually, I believe, the joint court, they paid their last payment in May of, will be paying their last one in May of this year.
In May? All
Yep.
right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Seeing none, I'll need a motion to approve the resolution. Item E.
I would move the resolution for the issuance and sale of refunding of building authority bonds and tax increment finance authority bonds.
It's been moved by Vice President Hussein. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. The next item, we'll need a motion. Vice President Hussein.
I would move the resolution for the issuance and sale of limited tax general obligation refunding bonds.
Item has been moved by Vice President Hussein. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Ms. Frere.
Thank you. I also appreciate you guys getting it on as a late item for tonight's meeting. Much appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. And those items will be at, we'll have Vice President Hussein move them as late items this evening at council. The next item is a report on boards and commissioners and authorities with terms of expiration. Mr. Mayor, we're just going to place this on file. Never mind. Need a motion to place this on file.
So moved.
Been moved by Vice President Hussein. Any further discussion? This has been updated as of the 24th of 2020. All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. The next item is an executive order, 2020-01I, a policy and procedure for temporary marijuana event licenses. I take back the I, that's a typo, it looks like. 2020-01, issued by the mayor on February 14th, 2020, dealing with temporary marijuana event licenses. Is there anything you wish to add to this besides what's in the order, Mr. Mayor? All right, any questions for this item? Seeing none, motion places on file. It's been moved by.
I would move to place on file.
Moved by Vice President Hussein to place this on file. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Thank you all. Next item on our agenda are two series of closed sessions. Vice President Hussein.
Pursuant to MCL 15.268C, at the request of the city for strategy and negotiation purposes connected with the negotiation of collective bargaining agreements pursuant to MCL 15.268H of the Open Meetings Act, I hereby move that we recess into closed session to consult with the city attorney to consider material exempt from discussion or disclosure by state statute, specifically to discuss a written legal opinion and written material from the city attorney provided under attorney-client privilege and attorney work product, and which is also exempt from disclosure under the Freedom of Information Act pursuant to MCL 15.243G.
It has been moved by Council Member Hussein that we go to closed session. Before we take the roll, I will note we do have action items afterwards, so we will be reconvening afterwards. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Councilmember Hussein? Councilmember Wood?
Yes.
Councilmember Spitzley? Councilmember Betts? Yes. Councilmember Jackson? Councilmember Dunbar? Councilmember Spatafor?
Yes.
Councilmember Spitzley? Okay. Oh, I had you twice, sorry.
I think there were 8 yes votes, 1 no vote, but only 7 of those yeses counted. We are in closed session.
I was like, I wrote it. I'm reading it. It's on my nerves. Exactly. Well, that's why I know that's why you're not sitting next to me now. I know.
Is that right? It is 6:33, and the Committee of the Whole is back reconvened. First item in front of us is the ratification of Teamsters 243 CTP collective bargaining agreement. Vice President Hussein.
President Spatafor, what we have before us are our respective resolutions that deal with the ratification of collective bargaining agreements. By and large, what we have before us, these both pertain to Teamsters 243, but respective units of clerical, technical, and professional, as well as the supervisory unit. By and large, they are very similar in nature. They both cover 2-year periods, February 1st, 2019 to January 31st, 2020, and both do include wage increases. I believe year 1 includes an increase of 3%, and year 2 includes an increase of 2.5%. No retro pay, and it does not include signing bonuses. I will move these respectively. So I'd first move the resolution for the ratification of Teamsters 243 CTP collective bargaining agreement.
Motion has been made. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay. Motion carries. Item J.
I would move the resolution for the ratification of Teamsters 243 supervisory collective bargaining agreement.
It's been moved by Vice President Hussein. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Motion carries. Before we do adjourn this committee of the whole, I'm going to call on Mayor Shore to address his emergency order that he issued this afternoon. Mayor Shore.
Thank you, Councilman Spatafor. If I leave anything out, I welcome questions. It's been an interesting day, but this afternoon, I issued an executive order declaring an emergency in the city of Lansing under my authority under state law and our charter. We have provided that executive order to members of council. You all have it in your email. I apologize for not calling you one by one, but it's normally I would, but we were short on time, and but I did want to get it to you, and I texted everybody to let you know. We provided it to the public through the media. We provided it to our department directors. We provided it to our employees on the hub, which is our intranet, and through email. So that declared an emergency in the city of Lansing. That will do a variety of things. It will free up the ability to seek resources with the federal government spending or passing 2 appropriations, one a few weeks ago, one 2 nights ago in the House, and I believe the Senate's being called back, is what I was told, and the President has agreed to it. And there's potentially another one coming in a few weeks. Congresswoman Slotkin has been on the phone with me several times to keep me in the loop, but with federal resources being freed up, with the state having declared an emergency and being able to grab some of those federal resources, we felt it was time to declare an emergency here now. We're seeing these cases pile up. We are hearing of people being tested. This was the time. Additionally, I issued an order for building closure. So as of tomorrow morning, I didn't want to do it today because we had council, we had people coming in, it's a public meeting. But as of tomorrow morning, we are going to close our buildings. Employees will still be paid. For non-essential, they will work from home. They will be home. Directors are welcome to provide work to them to do at home as possible. All the phone systems will still be up and running. If you go to lansingmi.gov/coronavirus, it's got a list of all of the departments that are forward-facing, that are public-facing, and all the phone numbers. We are going to make sure that each phone number rings through to a person if someone has a question, especially on essential services. And so we'll still be available. Essential services will still be available. Police, fire, everything that is an essential service will still be available. And this compounds on the earlier announcements that we made that our community centers were closed. We closed our community centers when the schools closed because you have mass gatherings there. We had concerns about parking and things, so we actually suspended enforcement of overnight parking. I know we just passed that, so I apologize, but we have people who are very upset and complaining, and their kids are home from school and they need to. We just kind of put a hold on everything while we're trying to navigate this, but and then we will take inventory. So that was all done. Again, everyone has been alerted as of tomorrow morning when people would normally be coming in. They won't be coming in unless they are essential services, and we will navigate from there.
Thank you, Mayor Shore. Are there questions for the mayor? Oh, Councilmember Wood.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, a few questions. First of all, the mobile food pantry.
Oh, yeah.
Could you let us know whether that will continue to be up and running or how that is going to be dealt with?
Councilwoman Spitzley, actually, we talked about this before, thank you. Yes, the mobile food pantry will still be happening. We need to get that into we've done 2 memos to, in essence, staff and employees, department by department. You all should have those memos. The mobile food pantry will still be happening. I know that we will be dealing with some system changes. The food bank, in essence, is taking that on and staffing it up. Kim Coleman and Willard Walker are both working very closely with the food bank to get that done. They've got their processes. It's my understanding that in the upcoming one, and I think this is what you're giving me, the upcoming one, they're going to be giving out packaged food. In the past, if you've been to a food bank, there's always a line, and you get volunteers who are giving out food one by one. They're going to be packaging the food together in boxes of some sort and giving it out, again, to make sure that everything is working in the right way. There is a gap feeding program for all of our students. The school district has done a fantastic job. We've been in contact with them. There are 20 sites, our community centers included. We'll have gap feeding for the next 2.5 weeks while the schools are out, and then they go into spring break, at least in Lansing. So all of that is being covered. The school district has a website that I can't remember, but if you go to the
It's lansingschools.net/food.
/food. So they've got their website which is information on where anyone can go. So yeah, I think we're covered for that. But we will try and get an announcement out soon that the food pantry will still be taking place this Saturday morning.
Just to, for the memo, the food pantry, I'm sorry, President Spatafor. The food pantry is going to be a little different. It's going to be, people are going to be drive-through to the extent they can and in their cars, and they're going to be served the food in their cars to minimize contact. And then folks who do come on foot, we're gonna try to, they're gonna try to make accommodations, because we have a lot of people that come through the bus transit system, but the main method this weekend is going to be food distributed through a drive-up line. Head of household members should be prepared to provide a name, zip code, and age breakout of those in their household, and have all that information when they're going through the mobile line. So, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Wood.
And then in regards to essential employees, if we're having people work from home, those that are actually going to be out there doing the job, are there any other compensation that they will be receiving for this, since they are helping to keep the city running?
At this point, everybody's helping to keep the city running. We're expecting people are going to continue to get paid as they were getting paid. You know, those who are out doing the job are going to get paid doing the job, and those who are at home are going to be doing what they can at home. So people are going to continue to get paid in the same way, and we'll run it all through the CBAs. So Nick Tate in my office has informed all the unions, and we'll continue to work with them. But everyone's going to continue to get paid, just they're not going to be in the buildings.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Betts.
Quick question, how is this going to affect the operations of HRCS?
Yeah, they're still going to operate, and they've got the abilities. Kim Coleman is still going to be the director. They're still going to work with the hospitals and the homeless, the shelters and other things. So they'll continue their communications. They'll just do it they'll do it from their homes, and they'll be in contact with their director electronically or by phone.
A couple things. One, I want to compliment you and your team for the work they've been doing. I know that this is a weird period of time for all of us in city government, and I just appreciate the work that LPD, your administration, has done to keep us informed, in particularly the council. But I wanted to also touch on the Lansing School District feeding program, because this has been something that a number of folks in our community have reached out to me about, and that is going to be available Monday through Friday. During the next 3 weeks, concluding on April 3rd. Parents with children 18 and under will be able to walk up, bike up, drive a vehicle to a curbside location, pick up breakfast for the next day and lunch for the day. You may pick up multiple meals at one time, including food that might be needed for the weekends. You don't need to bring your children with you if you don't want to bring your children with you. And I've had the question too, parents with children with IEPs, individualized education plans, or special education students, those meals will be available for students 26 and under. So that is applicable. There are 20 sites with varying hours, and that website is lansingschools.net/food, and we'll have that posted on the council website as well, in case you come looking for that. But I want to thank the school district for stepping up on that. It's going to be great to at least help keep children eating during this period of time. Councilmember Spitzley, and then I have some closing comments on.
Thank you, Mr. President. You know, I appreciate the leadership as well, you know, and you know, our first responders are, you know, our frontline people, and I'm so appreciative that they're out there. People, you know, the Lansing Police Department has, you know, kind of issued a directive of calls they're going to be responding to, and where the hierarchy is. I'm just going to be blunt. Don't go out there losing your minds because you think that, you know, the police department is not out there doing their job, because they are. And they'll be out in force. And so just everybody take care of each other. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
And I know this has come up, you know, at LPD, we want to keep our first responders safe, because if they get the virus, we have no first responders. So they are doing an alternative policing plan. So if there are property crimes under $1,000 and things like that, where they don't have to be in physical contact, we're going to take reports online and things. I know there's been some question about, you know, is that going to affect crime? The answer is no, it's not. They're going to be freed up to address the crime that's happening. So the alternative plans are actually going to keep our officers safe. They're going to allow them to respond to crime that's happening. And those are all also publicly provided. Both police and fire have alternative plans that they've put out. So thank you for that reminder.
So, thank you. And we have a few other business items that were not on the agenda, but we will take them up as late items at council, but need to move them out of committee of the whole this evening. First, I want to thank City Council. You all have been tremendous in responding to concerns of our citizens and trying to connect those in our community with questions, with those that can answer those questions. The mayor has issued an order closing down City Hall, declaring a state of emergency. One resolution I would like us to consider is one, and it is the shorter one in front of you, that would extend the mayor's emergency declaration and powers through April 10th. Under charter, or perhaps ordinance, the mayor only is permitted to declare a state of emergency for 7 days without council consent. And we'd like to give him that declaration through April 10th. That is the Friday before council meets again, at which time, if you need to, you can declare another 7-day emergency, and we can come back and do this all over again, but let's hope we're through it by then. So that'll be considered as a part of our agenda at council this evening as a late item, but I wanted it in front of you this evening, and I would ask for a motion to approve this resolution. Vice President Hussein.
I would move the resolution approving an extension of the declaration of emergency through and including April 10th, 2020.
Is there further discussion? Councilmember Jackson.
Yes, thank you. I would support this. I will. Would think that it should be even longer than that, given that the peak is in 2 weeks or something. And then also, if we're not able to meet for some reason, then he wouldn't be able to do another one.
That's what my second one is. I appreciate that, and we recognize this is an evolving and uncertain time, and I appreciate discussions with the city attorney. We determined that this should be sufficient to get us through the period. He may declare another one. If we had to declare open an emergency meeting, we can do that as well. But I thank you for the concern. Any other questions on this particular ordinance or resolution? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Next, I sent out a memo not too long ago, the Lansing City Council COVID-19 exposure mitigation measures, and essentially that would suspend all committee meetings of the City Council and move all essential business to the Committee of the Whole and City Council so that we can keep city government moving, but minimize the exposure of our staff and the public to potential virus. I'm recommending that be adopted this evening by the council. Not necessarily this evening, not right now, we don't need that. Actually, you know what? You have the memo, let me pass it out to you. I'm sorry, y'all, this is new territory for all of us, I think. So the memo in front of you details 3 steps that will be, take place under the Lansing City Council COVID-19 exposure mitigation measures. All standing committee meetings will be canceled, and committees will be discharged of all items which are essential to the city business, life, safety, or welfare. We will do that at committee meetings in consultation with the committee chairs and the Office of City Attorney. These essential decisions will be considered by the Committee of the Whole and City Council during regularly scheduled meetings, evening sessions. All Committee of the Whole meetings will be rescheduled to take place at 5 p.m. to ensure enough time for deliberations before council at 7 p.m. This will go into effect until such time we determine to suspend this plan. I would ask for a motion supporting the memo in front of us.
So moved.
Been moved by Councilmember Hussein, Vice President Hussein. Is there further discussion? Councilmember Jackson.
Thank you, and I'm sorry I didn't read through it all the way, but would, for example, a public safety matter that is in the committee that's determined essential, would that then be deliberated by the entire committee?
Yes. Yeah, we would discharge it to the floor and have it considered by Committee of the Whole. And the city attorney advises me that we can do that all in one meeting and don't need to, there's no waiting period on a motion to discharge, so we'll be able to act quickly. All in favor of adopting the memo in front of us, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And then the third piece in front of you that I would like you to consider is a resolution that would suspend Rule 46 of the council rules. Rule 46 prohibits virtual participation and quorum counting for city council meetings and all public bodies of the city of Lansing, including boards and commissions. Oh, you need this one? All boards and commissions. The governor issued Executive Directive 2020-2 Friday, directing public bodies or departments and agencies of the state, including not limited to boards, commissions, committees, subcommittees, authorities, and councils, must, to the extent practicable, consider postponing public meetings and/or agenda items that may be deferred until a later time. All public bodies and departments and agencies of the state subject to the Open Meetings Act that must continue to meet must do so by means sufficient to enable meaningful access and communication for all participants. Participation by remote access technology, including conference calling, real-time streaming, or other platforms, is acceptable and sufficient to form a quorum, so long as public access and participation is preserved. Public notice of the time and date of each meeting of a public body of a department or agency or state subject to the OMA must be given in the manner required by the OMA, which includes publication and notice of the public body's internet website. The public notice must include sufficient information such that the public's right to address the meeting of the public body is provided. We are recommending that council hereby suspend Council Rule 46 and permit participation by remote access technology, including conference calling, real-time streaming, or other platforms on items at regular and special council meetings. Further, that the official action taken at a council meeting that includes a vote on an item for which a council member participated by remote access technology will be binding on the council and not subject to change except as may be provided by parliamentary procedure. And finally, that the passage of this resolution, each council member by his or her affirmative vote commits and agrees that he or she will not change his or her vote at a future time when the declared state of emergency for the city is terminated, and after the state of emergency is lifted, will by resolution ratify each and every action taken at a meeting during the emergency, be it vote on a resolution or ordinance. What this allows us to do is, should council members not be able to participate because they are ill or fear of becoming ill, can participate in our meetings, and we can get quorum virtually. It is my hope that we all use this judiciously and only if necessary, and that we do try to be here for council. As we've discussed, we will try to preserve council action to be only the most pressing issues in front of us, but we wanted this in our back pocket, and I know the Michigan Municipal League is working right now to get further clarification from the governor's office on our ability to virtually participate in meetings, but we can't do anything without suspending Rule 46 of the City Council, so I'm asking that be done this evening. Once that's done, we will begin working with the city IT department and city TV to develop a way to create a robust participation method for city council members. We need a motion, and then we'll entertain discussion.
So moved.
It's been moved by Councilmember Hussein, Vice President Hussein, excuse me. Councilmember Spitzley?
Thank you, Mr. President. So I'm just wondering about, I mean, you said we were going to work with IT. So I'm wondering, I mean, do we have the capability? I think it's good. I'm just concerned that, you know,
Mr. Mumby told me through the mayor this weekend that it is possible.
okay, all right.
Councilmember Wood?
Do we need to add something at the, now therefore be resolved at the end of that, that says until the state of emergency has been lifted? Is that necessary?
So, we can, certainly. I think the last clause the city attorney put in there requires us to go back and affirm everything we did afterward, and we can put a repealer in that after the state of emergency has been lifted. If you'd rather, or if you're comfortable with that, that's the method I would prefer.
Okay. My concern is, this is for the state of emergency. It's not for something that we're not suspending it forever. And that's what I want to make sure is clarified enough in here.
So, my concern is that the mayor, the state of emergency is a different state of emergency in 20 days or 15 days, and I'd rather have it just suspended until we reinstate it, and I, Scout's honor, will reinstate it.
You can write that out in writing and hand it to me.
I will do so.
All right.
Because I don't think he was Boy Scout.
Yeah, I know that. That's,
All right. Any further discussion on this? Councilmember Wood, are you comfortable with that answer? Are you comfortable enough with that answer to move forward? Comfortable enough. Very good. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion carries. There will be a number of other late items, but we've already discussed them this evening. So with no further business for the committee, we are adjourned. See you back at 7.